waiting for her to send me a message to let me know where you're from. And Grace, can you please confirm if everyone can hear me, please? I'm just waiting for Grace to get in touch with me, guys. I'm really happy to have you here today. There has been a lot of preparation for this webinar because my goal is really to bring a lot of value to you, value to your journey. I understand how challenging it is to be in that phase of the process, the phase that you are right now. So she confirmed that everyone can hear me, so that's a good start. I'm happy about that. And yeah, so we've got people from India, people from Singapore, people that are in the Philippines, in Australia, Sri Lanka. So we are a massive international team, which is lovely. I'm actually from Brazil myself, and Grace is actually in the Philippines. So I'm so happy to have you here. And I'm only going to give it 3 more minutes so that we start. We did have 208 people signing up for this webinar. So I'm waiting for a higher number of people to come through. We are just admitting everyone into the room right now. Right now we are up to 50 people, which is great. And yeah, I think what we can start doing, can you please just tell me and put on the chat while we are waiting for more people, what has been the main challenge for you? In one word, just tell me where you are struggling right now, because then I can make sure that I cover that in the webinar. I also speak quite fast. It's just my nature. I'm used to that. So if I'm going too fast and furious, let me know, because then Grace can tell me to slow down a little bit. So people are struggling with recency, sure. Interviews, getting shortlisted, okay. The main common problems that IMGs face. So you are not alone. Okay, so if you're thinking that you're alone in that part, you're definitely not alone in that part. Everyone is having the same issues. Observership, needing work visa, PR, selection criteria process, okay. I think the good news is that all of those problems, they are solvable. They really are. And if I believe that you're gonna leave here more confident, for sure, because that's my goal, to make sure that you're confident on what you are doing, that you're getting clarity on the steps. So we are 5 minutes in, so I think I'm just going to start, because I know that you have busy lives, right? We all have busy lives, and you've taken time from your Sunday to be here today. You could be with your family members, you could be with your friends, but you decided to make the choice to be here. And I think I've just stepped through one slide, so we need to go back to this one. So let's talk a little bit about the pathway, okay, and the whole process as a whole. So let me start introducing a little bit of, you know, it's amazing to have you here. I think taking this step to be here today really shows your commitment to this process. I understand that the medical industry is extremely complex. It's really hard to figure things out, especially as an IMG. It's not an easy process at all. A lot of gray areas, right? So I know that you guys are in different parts of this process. We are all in different places right now. Some of you are in Australia, some of you are still overseas. So, but one thing is you guys have in common. So you all share the same goals. We are all going towards the same direction. So today is all about bringing you clarity in this process. I think clarity is number one. Know what you need to do, right? So we are going to be covering things from the full roadmap, from AMC, APRA to getting your first offer, okay? So there are 6 stages in this process, and I'm going to go through those 6 stages with you, okay? I will also be highlighting the biggest mistakes the IMGs are doing right now, which is important for you to know. There is a lot of misinformation out there, confusion, inconsistency, and I know how overwhelmed you feel right now, okay? My goal is to simplify this process for you so that you can focus in the right actions to move forward in this process. So I do recommend that you grab a pen and paper and you make notes throughout this process. I will be talking for about 1 hour, 10 minutes. So that gives you an idea of how much information there's going to be here for you. And for the ones that are attending the webinar, there will be a free gift for you at the end. This gift is going to come to your inbox after we finish the webinar. Also, just letting you know, if you don't get this gift from me, just message me on LinkedIn and I will make sure that you receive it, okay? Because I cannot send promotional stuff, or I cannot send certain types of material to Eventbrite. So we had to transfer the full list to another software that sends email, and we haven't been able to put everything in because so many people registering last minute, okay? So if you don't get it, don't worry, message me, or as soon as we add everyone in, you'll be receiving your gift. As well as there has been some issues with some emails that haven't allowed us to email them. I'm not sure why. So if you don't receive it, just be in touch. You're going to receive it straight away. LinkedIn is always the best way for us to communicate because it's very easy, kind of sort of instant messages, right? So at the end, we're going to be doing a Q&A. It's going to be 10 to 15 minutes. Again, if I don't cover all the questions, I'll send everything for you afterwards. Let's get started. So before we proceed to the content, I just want to give you an introduction about me, because I know I've had a lot of interactions with some of you on LinkedIn, and you see a lot of my material, you see a lot of the things that I post, but who is Francine, right? Who is this person? Where, what she has done, before she started doing this? Which sort of experience does she have, to be helping IMGs, right? So I think it's important to share my background so you know who I am, you know a little bit more about myself. So as well as funding, starting IMG Career Branding, I also have a full-time job with a company called Locum Life. So I lead the emergency department at Locum Life, and the focus is to work with RMOs up to ED rural generalists, GP VMOs, which are doctors that are general practitioners, but they decided to keep their ED skills alive. So they are very senior doctors. They are more or less on the level of a FACEN. It's just different career paths, okay? So I've been in the medical industry for 8 years. And I've been working with public hospitals. For you to have an idea, we have tenders, so we have contracts with more than 800 public hospitals in Australia. So there's a massive number, as well as working with private clinics, as well as working with some private hospitals. So that gives you an idea of the things that I get involved with on a daily basis, right? And my doctors, even though they already have their general registration because they are doing locums, right? 8% of my doctors are IMGs. So 8% of my doctors have gone through this path that you are going right now. So I was able to learn a lot from them, but also through these years, those 6 years with locum life, I always had many IMGs getting in touch with me because they want jobs, right? But the reality is, for IMGs like you, I can't put you forward for a job because the hospital will not accept an application from an agency. What is the reason for that? The reason for that is hospitals, they run their own campaigns for IMGs like you because you need a visa and you also need to work under supervision, right? So locums, they've gone through that process and they understand the Australian system. So they are safe to practice as a locum. So IMGs like you haven't had the exposure to the system yet. So the hospitals make sure that they recruit you, you go through with them for the first 2 years, let's say. That's the time that's required to be eligible for your PR, so your permanent residency, but also be eligible for your, every case is different, but also be eligible for the APRA general registration. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I can't put you in a hospital. I can't get you the job. You have to apply for the job. But what I can definitely do for you is help you through this process because I do understand the process. So I can help you to present yourself. I can help you to prepare yourself. I can help you to prepare for interviews. I can help you to understand the Australian market. So there's a number of things that I can do in this process to help you out. And not even that, what I feel like is the first 6 months of this job, the job with locum life, I used to finish work and I used to feel like so tired and depleted. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to succeed in this job. And I used to be like, oh my God, it was like somebody cracked my head open, throw in all the information, and then shook it. And there was no order. And why I'm saying that? Because every hospital works differently. Every state works differently. There isn't one size fits all. A JMO is in New South Wales, an IMO is, somewhere else, a SHO in Queensland, a DMO in Western Australia, an SMO so it's all different, right? It's all different. In the States, they work all different. So I was like, oh my God, if I felt that confused, imagine how you feel. So I can totally relate to you. I know that you are in a hard place right now. And, but I had resources. I was inside of a company. There were people mentoring me. There were people explaining things to me. And that fast tracked my learning. But people like you, who you're going to run for? Right? So that's why that's the goal for IMG Career Branding. I'm here to help you prepare and be totally confident about getting your first job in Australia. My mission is to help as many IMGs as possible because I do understand how much Australia needs doctors, right? It's crazy because now you are seeing one side of the coin. The side that you are seeing is like hard work to get in, difficult to because I don't have Australian experience, all these major roadblocks that end up becoming really massive. But the real truth is once you go through your first job and you are into the system, that coin flips. That coin flips in a way that you'd never imagine. You're going to have hundreds of calls from different recruiters offering jobs. You're going to be turning off your phone. You're going to be blocking recruiters because you don't want to hear from them anymore because there are so many opportunities and hospitals are crying out for help. crying out for help. So whatever it is that you are in for, if you are in for impact, if you want to make an impact in the industry, that's going to be available for you. If you are in to help communities and be there for, you know, whatever community aboriginals that you want to help, the opportunity is there. If you if you're in for money, you're gonna earn a lot of money, trust me. You're gonna earn a lot of money. So don't be afraid to invest in yourself now. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself, because this is the biggest gift that you're gonna give to you. Because the sooner and the faster then you can fast track this path for you, the quicker you're gonna be on the other side of the coin. And you're gonna be like, you know what, Francine, I'm so sick. I just fed up of those recruiters calling me. Seriously, I already have a job. I don't need another job. So that's the good news. And I think the reason why I'm telling you this is just to keep you, to make sure that you are, sorry, some people, if you are getting into, if you are turning your video on, can you just please turn your video off, just because the wait, we have a lot of people here in this webinar today. So if you can, that would be amazing. And the situation is, the other side looks very, very, very bright, extremely bright for you. So I'm saying this to you because so that you feel motivated through the hard times, right? Because their hard times, they can put you down, it can push you down, it can stop believing that it's possible for you. But I'm telling you, it's totally possible for you. You are more than capable. If so many IMGs are doing it every year, why not you? Right? So as long as you take on board the things that I'm gonna be telling you today, I'm sure you're gonna be very able to succeed. And for the ones that are coming late, just letting you know, I've got Grace here. Grace is the moderator. By the way, Grace puts in a lot of work for you guys to help you, you know, succeed in this industry. Just to give you an idea, because a lot of people come to me, they ask for observerships opportunities. How can I get an observership? And Grace, she sits every day emailing clinics for me. I think to date, since when Grace started, we have emailed about 500 clinics. And from those 500 clinics, only one agreed to host. And I've got 3 underway that are about to agree. And it is hard getting the opportunity. It's not easy. But we are putting a lot of work for you guys, because I definitely want to see you succeeding in this market. Okay, so if you want to say hi to Grace, she's definitely my right hand here, helping me out with everything. So now let's proceed to what's important for you. So the understanding the Australian market. So as I said, you are all in different stages. So I'm going to be covering everything. So this information might be new to some of you, but it could be that some of you already heard it, okay? But it's important to understand the steps. And before we diving into the applications and everything you need to do, I just want to cover that, okay? So there are different pathways. I believe that most people that are here today are going through the standard pathway, because most of you are IMGs from countries like India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. So the standard pathway is the one that's available for you, right? So in terms of pathway, we have the standard pathway, authority pathway, specialist pathway, and the New Zealand pathway. Each pathway will lead you to a different sort of registration. So limited, provisional, general. And your registration will determine the types of roles that you are able to apply for, where you can work, and how supervised you need to be. And there is a common mistake that IMGs really make, which is start applying for jobs before ensuring they meet the APRA eligibility requirements. So there isn't one size fits all approach. Your journey is going to depend on the qualifications that you have, your recent of practice, your experience level, your current location. Okay, so the understanding this foundation is important because that's going to help you present yourself correctly to the hospitals, target the right opportunities, something very, very, very important, and avoid unnecessary delays with the process. Okay. So the reason why I started with this, and I feel this is really important, it's because I speak to IMGs on a daily basis. I get like 30 messages every day on LinkedIn, different cases, everyone, you know, is struggling in different parts of the process. But one thing that I hear a lot is, okay, I've applied for 100 jobs and I haven't had one reply, right? I've I've applied for 200 and I haven't heard anything. And I definitely see a problem with that because you're probably applying for jobs that you are not eligible for. You're probably not tailoring your application for every job. And this can bring you rejection, unfortunately. Okay, so we'll talk a bit more going forward. So is everything what I said so far making sense for you? Can you please let Grace know so she can let me know? I think I've frozen a little bit. Hello, I'm back. I think I froze a little bit. So can you please let me know if what I've said so far is making sense for you, especially about understanding the requirements, your eligibility? Yes, yes, thumbs up, answering yes. Okay, very good, guys. All right, then. So let's start with the 6 stages that I mentioned to you. Okay. So this is the roadmap that I feel is really important for you to follow in this path that you decided to take. I do feel that the IMGs that are successful are the ones that are following all those 6 steps. Okay. So the stage 1 is the preparation. So what does it involve? It involves your English tests, your documentation, your APRA eligibility. And then the presentation is where a lot of IMG struggles here. So things like your CV, your LinkedIn, your cover letters, your references, those are very important things at this stage of your career, you know, the stage that you are at right now. Not having those in line with Australian standards can definitely have you overlooked in the process. So the stage 3 is the application stage, which is, it's important to apply strategically. Only apply for roles that you are eligible for. Read jobs properly. Tailor each application for each job. It's really important to do that. And location. So the stage 4 is interview readiness, being confident, being able to communicate well, and having clarity during the interview process really matters. It's really important. I'm going to dig in a bit more in all of them. Just like a quick overview to give to you guys. Okay. And then stage 5 is the offer in the integration. Yes, you got your job. Let's celebrate. Amazing news, right? It's been so hard so far, and now you can totally celebrate. Imagine the feeling of getting your first offer after everything that you've been through, right? It would be amazing, and it's going to be well deserved when you definitely get it, right? So time to celebrate, but also time to navigate contracts and onboarding, understanding the expectations of the Australian market and the environment. And the last one is the mindset, right? Which for me is the invisible factor influencing every stage of this process. The ability to handle delays, feedback, setbacks, and change. right? So mindset is really, really, really important. And with the IMGs that I work with, sometimes I think all you require is just a little bit of assurance. You just need to go to someone like me and be like, okay, is this correct? Am I doing this right? You know, and I think that confidence brings a new light, brings a new energy, right? Because if you feel confident, if you feel sure, if you feel that you've done everything, when you apply with a different feeling. And that reflects in your application. Okay? So let's start with the first one, which is a presentation. Oh, so I skipped the wrong slides. I'm sorry, guys. I need to go back. Which is, we are in presentation. Okay, next one here. Great. All right, then. So this stage builds up the foundation for a successful application. So before drafting a CV or start applying for jobs, make sure that the core is correct, which is, okay, actually, let me see if I'm in the right, yeah, preparation one. Yeah, make sure that the core documentation is correct, okay? What do I mean by that? That you have your exams results, that you have your English tests, that with the scores, and you have your documentation for APRA assessment. Confirm APRA eligibility is really important. Your registration is going to be very important at this stage because, again, it's going to determine the roles that you can apply for, the level of supervision that's required. And if you don't do that, it may lead to some rejections, unfortunately. It's important to plan your timeline. So understand when you're getting your exams results, and how long the APRA process really takes. So it's all about timing at this stage, and make sure that you align with the campaigns that you're applying for. Okay, that's really, really important. So preparation and supporting documentations early is the key. Okay, and my advice to you at this stage is that you create a checklist of the necessary documentation. And some of the documents that you should be looking at is passport, medical degrees, internship certificates, your transcripts, so your English results, your AMC certificates, policy checks, immunization record, any additional documentation that you have if you've done like an observeship. Also, one thing that I think is important to bring up at this stage is I have a lot of candidates that come to me asking for observeships, right? So if you're looking for an observeship, it means that you are looking for a job right now. And for an observeship, you only need 4 things. You need your CV, you need your WWCC, you need your police check, and you need your vaccinations. Only 4 things. And people come to me to talk about observerships, and I'm like, okay, I will send your details to the clinic. Please provide me with your documentation, which is those 4 documents. And doctors don't have it. So what does it tell me? It tells me that if you don't have the documents for an observeship, you don't have the documents ready for a job. And that can put you at risk, big risk, because you get an interview, you get an offer, everything needs to be ready. And that talks about a lot of preparation, right? Like preparation is what's going to give you peace of mind at the end of the day. It's going to reduce you stress, shows that your employers see that you are prepared, right? And you are professional. That's the important key here. Being professional all along the way and having the right paperwork shows that. So tell me, are you prepared now in terms of your paperwork? Do you have most of the documentation that I mentioned? So I'm just going to mention it before here because Grace is asking me. So what is important? Starting from your passport, And then passports in forms of ID, for example, they usually have to be certified by a JP. Okay, so the documentation, just kind of repeating that again, is passport, medical degree, transcripts. What is the transcripts? So if you have your MBBS certificate in your own language, that's going to have to be translated to English, right? And then needs to be through a proper translator that has got like a stamp that shows that document is legit. Okay, so it's not about just about your MBBS. Any documents or any certificates that you have beyond your own language is going to have to be translated. And the question for the observed, so the documentation for the observerships, you need your national police check, you need your WWCC, which is your work with children's check, and you need your CV, and you need your proof of your vaccinations. Usually the observership can be done on a visitor's visa if you are doing that in a clinic, okay? And the WWCC needs to be a WWCC from Australia. And I know that a lot of you are overseas. So for example, like if you're gonna apply for the because every state, every different state has got its own WWCC. So basically, let's say you want to do an observership, there is an opportunity in New South Wales. You're going to have to apply for a WWCC in New South Wales. But after you apply online, but you have 30 days to show up in one of their offices to basically verify your ID. Right? So in that case, what needs to be done is before you have to apply online in your country, you share the confirmation that you're going to be receiving via email. And let's say you're going to be starting your observership, you know, in 3 weeks. So you make sure that you are in Australia a few days before there so that you can go and verify your identity and get your document. Okay. But not every state is the same, as I said. So WA, you can only apply in their post offices. You cannot do anything online. But like, for example, Victoria, South Australia, you can do the process online. So it really depends where you're going to be doing your observership. Okay, so is that okay now? Has the question been answered? Is there any questions about this part? I'm just waiting for questions. Please enlist the doctors required again. So that's being done. Okay, all good now. So let's proceed to the next slide, which is all about your presentation. So make sure, guys, that you have your preparation ready. It's extremely important that you do that, okay? So presentation. What is important to have on your CV? Okay, so there are 4 main things that they want to see when they have your CV in front of them, like in 10 seconds. I'm talking about a recruiter. So they want to see your reasons of practice. They want to see your scope of practice. They want to know your supervision needs and how safe you are with patients. These are the 4 most important things that you need to have on your CV right in front of them, okay? If those things are not obvious, it's unlikely that you're going to be shortlisted. So what are the musts, really important things that you need to have on your CV? From the start, okay? So you need to have your contact details, make sure they have your email, that you have your contact number, your WhatsApp, make sure that you have your LinkedIn link there. We are going to be I'm going to talk about CV first, and then we're going to go into LinkedIn, which is something really important, but make sure that you have your LinkedIn link. If you have a crap LinkedIn profile, don't put the link there. I wouldn't do it. But if you have a great LinkedIn profile, I would definitely put the link there, okay? So you need your eligibility. What do I mean by that? Your AMC status, your English tests. And then which, you know, eligibility for APRA registration. so eligible for limited upper registration. Your availability, where you are located, and then you need like a summary about you, let's say 5 paragraphs or something like that, and your core clinical skills. So in 10 minutes, that's exactly what the recruiter is going to look for, okay? To see if you match the minimum requirements of the job. Because then if you don't, then, you know, they're going to put you to the side. Then let's talk a little bit, what is important to have in your CV as a whole. So this is just like the first initial part. In the CV as a whole, it's really important that you have your contact and eligibility, your summary, your core skills, your education, your clinical experience, procedures, registrations and certificates, and your referees, okay? This is the minimum that you need to have on your CV. I usually, when I prepare CV, I don't know what happened here. Okay, where did we jump to? Presentations, correct. Okay, so when I work on CVs for my candidates, I make sure that they are totally aligned with the APRA guidelines, okay? And usually the CV that I created for the candidates that work with me, they have about 16 sessions. And I make sure that I put everything there, but in a very concise manner, so that obviously your CV doesn't exceed a massive amount of pages. We're going to be talking about that as well in a moment. But these things that I mentioned, they are the minimum requirements that you should be having in your CV. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is formatting, which is a huge problem that I see with CVs for IMGs. I see every type of thing that you can think about. I see CVs all formatted differently all along the way, different size fonts, different spacing, tables everywhere, adding things that are totally not necessary, like pictures, material status, how many kids you have, your date of birth. That's just totally out for the Australian market system, and they are not interested in that information. But I think the main point here is having the tables on your CV just makes it really difficult for the ATS system to actually read the information that's there. And that could be a problem because you can go, obviously you wouldn't be shortlisted if the ATS is not reading. You could have everything written on your CV, but if the ATS is not able to read it, then you're not going to be able to get shortlisted. So I see candidates doing CVs on these online formatting tools. Don't ever do that because the ATS doesn't read those CVs. The CV has to be done in Word format, with bullet points, one font, same line spacing everywhere between everything. And then you need to make sure that you export to PDF before you send it to the hospital. Red flags on the CVs, missing dates, no procedures, vague duties, a lot of repetition. Some people will add like qualifications into qualification, and then they will add, you know, the same qualification into certification or CPD. You have to keep it concise and clear, right? So avoid repetitions, avoid typos, unexplained, you know, you have to explain the gaps well that you have in your CV and that turn them into something positive. Australia is a no, 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 no. If you have unexplained gaps on your CV, it's going to be a problem because Australia is extremely regulated, extremely regulated. For you to have an idea, like my locums, right? The doctors that work with me, they have like 15 years, 20 years experience, right? And we have to add every hospital that they go to with the dates and job titles and everything. And, you know, my doctors, they have 20-page CVs. Obviously, that's not your case because, you know, you don't have that many years experience and everything, but don't ever cut in experience. It's just how you laid it out in your CV. okay? It's really important to know what you do. So don't scan your CV and just send it to the hospital. So repetition, lack of a structure is always a problem, okay? So that's about CVs. Is everything making sense for you, what I just said about CVs? Can you please let me know? So there are some questions coming through and I would rather prefer to answer them towards the end because we do have a Q&A and I just want to make sure that we cover everything here, but I will answer one question here. Your summary should be depending, it really depends on your experience, right? But I think the summary should have like 5 to 6 lines, not like full-on paragraphs, right? Because if you're making 6 full-on paragraphs, that's going to take the whole page. But if you have like 2 paragraphs, very self-explanatory, like 6, 7 lines, it's doable. Okay. And I think it's like you can have like if you haven't had a lot of I think you have to look at the context of everything, right? I get to work on CVs with doctors that have a lot of experience. So the idea is let's make everything punctual and let's show what's important, and let's make sure that we are adding the keywords that match that role, but let's try to make everything concise because there is a lot of information because that doctor has got maybe 8-10 years experience. An IMG could be a very experienced doctor. It's not every IMG that is young and only maybe did the internship and have worked maybe 2 or 3 years or 5 years, right? So I think when you look at your CV as a whole, if you haven't done, if your work history is not that long, you can definitely explore more and put a bit more detail into your summary. You can have like a longer summary because everything else is not going to take that much space. So you have to be sensible when you are doing the CV and just like stick with what really works, and what makes your CV to look very good visually as well. Because when you're looking at something that looks good visually, is very inviting, right? I think it prompts the recruiter to want to read more and know more about you, because how you present yourself really tells a lot about yourself. I think it tells, presentation is something really important nowadays. Yeah, it's not like before. I think with social media and exposure that we have now into everything, your presentation really matters, really does matter. So when I see a messy CV, I'm like, it's a messy person. I'm sorry. Like when I see a really nice written CV, I'm like, okay, this person took the time to do the homework. They know what they want. They understand what they need to do. So if I see it this way, I believe other recruiters see it that way as well. Okay. So can you please let me know if it's making sense? It's important to me to have your feedback. So just on that as well, I do have a boot camp coming up. The boot camp is starting on the 1st of November, and the first class is all about CV. I'm gonna teach you to write your CV paragraph by paragraph. All the small details, what needs to be where, is gonna be totally based on your needs. I'll show you all the red flags. I will teach you to use AI to write your CV and how that can be beneficial for you. I'll be teaching how you can add what you've done in an impactful way. It's really important that you write things in a way that tells your story. So that's going to be the first class of the bootcamp. So if you are interested, I'll be closing the registrations on the 28th. So there is still 2 more days to apply for the bootcamp. I'm looking forward so much to this class because we are going to dive in with a lot of details. So if you want to have details on the bootcamp, Grace can put the link for you here. I definitely would say join the bootcamp. It's going to be a great experience. You're going to learn so much in this bootcamp. And one thing about CVs, the hardest part is the formatting, because the formatting has to be done in Word. In Word, if you don't have experience in it, it's very difficult to master. And when I started doing CVs, it used to take me hours. Now I do a CV, like in 1 hour, the formatting of a CV. But before, it used to take a lot of time because wording is very stubborn, and the CV has to be done in Word. Okay, but I'll be teaching everything on the bootcamp. So if you are interested, if you want to have more details, join the bootcamp. The class, the session on CV, it's going to be 1.5 hours. So imagine how much I'm going to cover for you to help you succeed and present yourself in a very nice way. Okay, so now let's jump into LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn really matters. LinkedIn is your online credibility in Australia, okay? Hospitals, workforces, recruiters, hiring managers, they receive your CV and the first thing that they do is look you up on LinkedIn. And what happens a lot of times, I would say, I don't know, at least 65% of the time, you go there, you look for the doctor is not on LinkedIn. Or the doctor has got no information on LinkedIn. The name of the doctor is there, the location of the doctor is there, and then silence, nothing else. And as a recruiter, like, I can't tell you how disappointed I feel when I look for a doctor on LinkedIn and the doctor is not there. Is extremely disappointing, extremely disappointing. So your LinkedIn is your online presence. If you don't have a LinkedIn, go and create a LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is not just about you being there, right? It's about people finding you for jobs, making yourself visible for people, right? Like as a recruiter, I get a lot of people contacting me on LinkedIn for a diverse number of things, for jobs, for partnerships, for a number of things. So you need to be there. You need to be there. And it will create opportunities for you. It's not like a straight away thing, but in life, what is a straight away? There is no straight away in life, right? You only see results with things when you are consistent, when you put the work in. Nothing happens for free. So having your CV, your LinkedIn is a must. And what is important to have on your LinkedIn? So your eligibility, your clinical scope, your recent of practice, your communication style, your professionalism. Your CV, your LinkedIn is not a copy of your CV, okay? It's not like go there and copy and paste. It's not about that. It's about really presenting yourself, in a way that using the right keywords, making sure that everything that you're eligible for, the tests that you've done, everything's there. So people have, okay, and then you can, you have a summary. Your summary can be different from the summary. You can have a more generic summary in your CV and then do something that is a little bit more, that has got more details on LinkedIn, right? Because on LinkedIn, your summary can definitely be much longer than the summary that you have on your CV. You can definitely express yourself a bit more through your LinkedIn profile. And so the headline, okay, so the headline should be clear and show your AMC status, role level, clinical interest. So as an example here, I have residential medical officer / AMC part 1 completed / interest in emergency. Very short, punchy, to the point. No emojis, yeah, because that's another problem that I see. The doctor has LinkedIn, and then the next thing when you go there, it's got emojis everywhere. Don't do that. Like, it does not look professional, guys. You need to, if you have emojis in your LinkedIn, it needs to be removed right now, okay? The about section, which is the part about you, is important to put there who you are, your clinical interests, the motivation to work in Australia. So why you want to work in Australia, and openness to learn local protocols. So it's important to have that. The experience part of the LinkedIn profile must match your CV, but you know, your CV has to be concise, right? Like if you added like a work experience and you have 10 bullet points about the working experience in your CV, okay, that's fine. On LinkedIn, I will try to condense that to 5. Okay, it's still showing the same things, but just presented in a different way. Okay, so your experience must have your job title, the dates, the facilities, a clear scope of what your job was or is. It's important to have consistency though between your CV and your LinkedIn. So like on your LinkedIn, you have only like 5 work experiences, but then they go in your CV, there are 10. So make sure that you add everything to LinkedIn so there is consistency on what they are seeing, okay? And one thing that I definitely tell people to add into their LinkedIn is recommendations. So if you have a supervisor that can recommend you, or a peer that you work together that can recommend you, if you've done an observership in Australia, get a recommendation from the doctor that was there with you. Ask for permission. Ask if they can. And LinkedIn actually has like a little feature where obviously you need to ask the person first if they are happy to do that. And then on LinkedIn, there is a part where you go recommendations, request, and then that person will receive a request on their LinkedIn to give you a recommendation. And once the recommendation is done by that person, you go read it, make sure that obviously everything, looks good. And then you accept it. And then the recommendation is going to appear on your profile. So having recommendations is great, especially from your supervisors from your country. Like if you don't have Australian experience yet, and it's hard to have references, right? Because Australian references have a massive weight on your application, but how you're going to have that if you never worked in Australia? So, but add recommendations from other people, okay? Because why this is important? Because that builds trust, is really important. And activity. Networking is really important. So networking with hiring managers, networking with recruiters, networking with other IMGs that are in the same journey as you is really important, okay? Because at the end of the day, you don't know, like if you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, send them like a nice message saying, thank you for connecting, I appreciate it. It could be that after 2 months, you see a job in the same department with that people that connected with you, like you guys connected. And then you can reach out to them and say, hey, I know there's a job available in the department that you work. It would be really nice to understand how everything is. Are you able to tell me a little bit about this job? I'm very interested how everything works there. And then that opens up the conversation for more, right? And then in the end, you might even be able to say, hey, I've applied for this job. Actually, I put in my application in online. Any chances that you can put a word in to your supervisor? Or can you, because on LinkedIn, you can connect people as well. Can you recommend a connection? So then you have the doors open and access to the decision maker of that role. Okay, so there are so many things that you can do, but like with LinkedIn, you have to start and you have to be consistent, because it's the more you connect with people, the more it opens up networks, right? So once you start connecting people, you start having more options of people to network. Because right now, if your network is really, really small and you want to find someone that works in hospital X, it could be that because of your network, you're not going to have access to that person. So that's how important it is. And it's a matter of sitting on LinkedIn for 20 minutes a day. You don't need to do more than 20 minutes a day. Put on your calendar, LinkedIn, 20 minutes. What am I going to do today? I'm going to post something interesting about my profession that makes sense to me and is valuable. And I think it's going to be valuable to other people, because the important thing is to add value. If you're adding value, that's perfect, right? Then once you've done that, okay, I'm gonna connect with 20 LinkedIn, the normal license that is not a paid license, allows you to send 20 connections per day for different people. So send those connections. Once they accept you, then you send a nice message to them and start connecting, because if you are consistent doing that, what's going to happen is you're going to create momentum. And once the momentum appears, the opportunities are going to start coming up for you. Okay. So is everything making sense about LinkedIn? Can you please let me know? Because I'm just going to mention a few things that I don't think you should be doing on LinkedIn, like spamming recruiters or sending messages like, hi, job. It's about building up relationships. Australian market is very relationship based, very much. Everything is about relationships in Australia, in how you build those relationships. And because some of you or most of you are not in Australia, you're not there to build those relationships to go and have a coffee with someone. LinkedIn is the way forward. So make sure that you are sitting every day for 20 minutes, you are connecting, you are posting something of value. In the boot camp as well, I'll be teaching how you can send a message to recruiters with your CV in a video that you can attach. When they open the message, when they click on the link, opens up a very nicely formatted CV with a short video about you introducing yourself. There is nobody doing that. So imagine if you do something like that, how much you are going to stand out, the difference that's going to make to your applications. It shows that you are prepared, that you think things through, that you are interested. That's going to be a massive difference. That class I will teach in the boot camp starting on the 1st of November. So if you haven't signed up and you really want to learn about LinkedIn and how to connect with your peers, how to connect with hiring managers, how to connect with people that maybe have gone to university with you and are working in Australia right now. You never know, they can put in a word for you. So that is really important, okay? So is everything making sense before we proceed? Because I would like to go and move on to letters, cover letters. Okay, question, every day can we send 20? Yes. So with the free account on LinkedIn, the limit is to send 20 connections per day. So what happens is you're going to send 20 connections and some people are not going to accept you straight away. Okay. So they don't accept you straight away. That's fine. Just keep connecting with other people, but pay attention when they accept you, because you're going to get like a notification that that person has accepted you. And what's important is important to say, thank you so much for connecting. Just open a door for some sort of conversation. Okay. Also, when you're applying for jobs, right? So usually the name of the recruiter and the phone number of the recruiter is in the job ad. So make sure that you applied for the job, you go into LinkedIn, connect with the person. So before you send them a message, they need to accept your connection first in the free account. If you pay for an account, I don't think it's worth it. It's very expensive, and usually you can send emails, but emails, they usually go to a different inbox and nobody opens that inbox, so it's just not worth it. But I believe like you connect with the recruiter and then the recruiter accepts you and then you send them a link that opens up to amazing CV and a video of you introducing yourself, saying what you're looking for. Do you think that's going to have an impact? That's going to have a massive impact. How much that's going to make a difference for you in getting jobs? Let's be honest, guys. let's be honest. And I say, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. If you have knowledge and you know what you need to do, you're you're gonna shorten this so much for you. And I think what you're gonna be saving you is headache, rejections, right? Feeling low, thinking that nothing is changing for you, have that feeling, that stagnation, that things are not moving forward the way that you wanted them to move forward, right? So is all of this worth? It's not, because once you have knowledge and you start applying the knowledge, things are going to move for you. They are going to move for you. I totally believe it more than anything in my life. So understanding the hacks can put you very close to what you want. And that's what I'm going to be teaching in the lesson, in the boot camp. The LinkedIn lesson also has got 1.5 hours. And if I were you, I would be thinking, how much stress that's going to save you in a long run. So let's move on to, so is everything making sense about LinkedIn? Okay, let me read the question here, guys. 1 second. To know you provide connections from eligible hospitals or clinical prospects pathway. I want to know, will you also provide connections from eligible hospitals? You mean, so there is a question here, if I will provide connections from hospitals. Look, if I have the connection on my LinkedIn, I'm more than happy to recommend you to that recruiter. Why not? And maybe open the path, right? This is something very specific. So it really depends where you're going to be applying. So if I have the connection on my LinkedIn, I don't see a problem. But am I going to sit down to do that individually? Probably not. If you want to have some individual help, I can do that for you. We can talk about it offline and see how I can help you with introductions and teach you everything through a coaching call. Okay? And there's another question, also you help getting a job placement. So what do you mean by that, help getting a job placement? Whoever asked these questions, like, you need to understand that you have to apply for the job. Like, you have to apply for the job. What I'll be teaching you is how to present yourself, how to prepare yourself, right? I can't go and apply for you, but one thing that I can do as a separate service for you, which I do for a lot of IMGs, is, okay, I want to apply for this residential medical role in New South Wales. These are the requirements. I need my CV redone. I need a cover letter done. I need my LinkedIn redone. I need you to look after any paperwork that I need to create to make me stand out for this. Usually, some hospitals, they have forms that have to be filled out, questions about, how would you deal in this situation? And yes, I will write those questions, the answers for you based on your experience in your CV. I'll just write in a way that makes you stand out, because I know how to answer those questions, right? So that is the type of service that it is more tailored. And the way we can do it application by application. Or what we can do is, Francine, I want to work with you for 3 months, right? Or 6 months. I want to work with you until I get my job. And what I can be doing for you is, okay, I will look for the job. There is a job in New South Wales that's suitable for you. There is this job in WA. This campaign is starting this time, blah, 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 blah. You have to go in, create your account. You have to go in and submit the paperwork, but I'll be doing all the paperwork for you. I'll be looking for the job for you, but it's not on an agency basis like locum life, where it's different, right? Is different for those doctors. It's a different situation. As an agency, we are providing doctors and we can submit their applications to the hospital. In your case, it's different because I can't do that, right? They don't accept agency applications, but I can definitely, which I've done many, many times for IMGs, I know every campaign. I know when they are happening. I know the time of the year they're going to be released. And okay, this job is available. The job is here. This is the paperwork. This is what I'll be doing for you. And I end up preparing the candidate for the interview as well. So there are a number of ways that we can work together. The boot camp is about how you're going to prepare. The focus is on CVs, on LinkedIn. The focus is on interview. I'll be teaching you about interviews, what's asked. I'll help you prepare, okay? I'll give you access to a list of hospitals, about 800 hospitals. I will teach you how to use a tool that shows you exactly where the hospital is actually located, if it is an area of need. So there are a number of hacks that I'll be giving you on the bootcamp. Okay, that will definitely facilitate that process for you. But if you want to have something more tailored for your needs, then we have to talk about it separately, and I can put a package and a quote for you, so that you can apply with more confidence. Okay, I'll be with you every step of the way, holding your hand. Usually people that work with me, they have direct access to me. So yeah, I'm going to be available for you. Okay. So now let's talk about cover letters, guys, because I don't want to hold you up for too long. We've been going on for a while now, and there is still stuff to get through. Okay. So cover letter. The cover letter is important if you have a very generic CV. Because if you're not tweaking your CV and you're not making specific for that position, that role, adding the keywords, blah, 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 I definitely recommend adding a cover letter, because the cover letter is your opportunity to showcase why you want to work for that hospital, why you want to work for that job, what do you bring to the table, okay? So you can talk a little bit about your experience, your attitude, towards working under supervision. Is definitely not a repeat of your CV. The cover letter usually has got just one page, right? 3 to 4 paragraphs. So what you need to include? You need to include the type of role that you're applying for, some lines, 2 lines on the clinical scope, relevant experience to the role, which area you are interested in, make sure that aligns with the role, ED, medicine, GP, whatever it is. Your willingness to learn new protocol, your availability, how flexible you are, that you are open to working under supervision, okay? I think the cover letter is not so important for the recruiter, okay? Because the recruiters, they are very pressed for time, and they will look at the first part of your CV in 10 seconds, and they will make a decision if you are true or not. But one thing I must say to you, hiring managers, they love reading cover letters. I know, because all the hiring managers that I worked with, they loved reading cover letters, because the cover letter will tell them if you are a good fit for their team. So when the recruiter gives access to the paperwork to the hiring manager, they will receive everything pretty much that the candidate has submitted into the application. And the cover letter goes with the CV. And I do see a lot of hiring managers reading cover letters. So create cover letters. I definitely advise you to do that. I think with the cover letter, the hiring manager can definitely connect the dots, show, your cultural awareness, how aware you are in the culture in Australia, and demonstrates that you are interested, that you are teachable, okay? So that's cover letters. Please give me the thumbs up if everything is making sense for you right now, because we are going to proceed to the next slide. And here I went again to the next one is application strategy. Okay, how is everything landing, guys? Am I right? Application strategy. Is everything landing okay? Please give me the thumbs up. Tell me if things are making sense for you. Okay, so in the meantime, while I wait for Grace to let me know what's happening on the other end, I'm gonna start with application strategy. I know I've been talking for a while. I hope you guys are feeling okay and it's being useful and being adding value for your time. See, there is a lot of information. There is a lot of information, and they said it's going great. Okay, amazing. Your feedback is much appreciated. You see how much information there is. And this is just a webinar of 1 hour. So imagine how much there is under the things that you can do, you know, that can help you to present yourself and be ready, you know, for this process. So it's application strategy. First thing I say is not about applying for every role that you see advertised, okay? You need to check eligibility. Eligibility is really important. I get IMGs coming to me saying, I haven't been shortlisted. And then when I check the jobs they've been applying for, they've been applying for jobs that ask for provisional registration when you are eligible for limited registration, right? That's going to lead to rejection, unfortunately. So make sure that you are reading the job ads. Be strategic, don't be random. It's better to apply for 10 suitable jobs or then apply for 20 jobs that are not going to bring you anything. Because I think it's really frustrating. Like, I put myself on your shoes. You apply for so many jobs and then you get ghosted by the hospital, right? It's terrible. It affects your self-confidence. Like, you don't feel good about yourself, you know, and you don't want to do that. You have, I think it's a lot about protecting your energy too. You know, this is really about protecting yourself because you really need to have a really good mindset to go through this process. Okay. So be strategic. Don't apply for every sick Indeed job. Okay. Focus on roles that you are eligible for. Learn, I think one important thing is to learn the timing for the campaigns throughout of the year. One important thing that you can do is basically go to the hospital website where they have their career portal and then register there and create a job alert for when that position is going to be advertised. So as soon as they advertise the role that is relevant to you, you receive an email and then you can go in and submit your paperwork. This way, you're not going to be missing out in any campaign, right? In the bootcamp, I'll be also telling you how everything works in terms of, let's say, it's very complicated. So in Australia, how it works? It works by health districts, right? So let's say, oh, I'm looking for a vacancy. I would really like to work in Tamworth Hospital. And then you go to Tamworth website, 0 vacancies. You don't see anything there, right? Why? Because the recruitment for Tamworth Hospital is done by the health district, which is called Hunter New England. Hunter New England does the recruitment for all the 15 hospitals that are under that network. And sometimes you don't know that information, right? But in other places, it works differently because there is a hospital network, but that hospital is doing their own recruitment, the hospital X, right? And it's important to understand how things work so that you can find the positions that are suitable for you. That's something as well that I'll be teaching in the bootcamp, guys, giving you a lot of more information about that so that you don't miss opportunities, okay? Important to understand how the roles are named in Australia, you know, like most common ones, residential medical officer, you know, in regional hospitals, rural ED or GP clinics. There is also, for the people that are interested in clinics, there is also a website that lists all the 12,000 clinics that exist in Australia. And I'll be sharing that hospitals, that website in the bootcamp as well. And that website has got the numbers, the emails for the clinics, I'll be teaching you how to network and get in touch to the clinics, what to say when you're looking for a job. So that information will be there. Imagine 12,000 clinics. As far as I know, it's 12,000 clinics in Australia, all over. And then make sure that you tailor your applications. As I said, if you have a very good CV, right, it should only take you 10 minutes to tailor your CV for that role that you're applying for. Go there to the job ad, find out the main keywords, just copy the job description, go into ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, give me the main keywords for this job advertisement disposition. ChatGPT will give you the main keywords, and then what you're gonna do, you're gonna go and add those keywords into your CV, into your summary, right? So that then when the ATS reads your CV, the keywords are there. So you pass through the first, level of shortlisting, okay? So don't use generic cover letters in your applications. Don't use generic CVs in your application. Adjust based in department type, location, patient mix, okay? Read the job description with care and mirror that into your documentation, okay? So timing also matters for your applications. So too early, you may not be eligible. Too late, you may miss the hiring process. Make sure that you research the health district, that you understand when they have their recruitment campaigns so that you don't miss out, okay? And then, is it all making sense, guys? Can you please let me know? I know we are, I don't know how long we've been here now. Okay, we've been here for quite a while. But we are going to the end. The next ones are not going to be so long. So interview readiness, what I see IMGs putting all their energy in applying for jobs, yeah? And then what happens? You haven't prepared for the interview. So, and then you panic. Yeah, total panic mode because that day is booked in your calendar and you have no idea what to do. That cannot happen. Like, you have to be precise. You have to be precise about every step of the way, guys. If you really want this, if you really want this badly, this is important for your life, you must make sure that you are prepared for the interview, that you understand how the Australian system works, that you understand the sort of questions that are going to be asked, okay? It's all about being a good fit for the role. It's not about being perfect. It's really about communicating well, being confident. Just to give you an example, recently I did a coaching session with somebody that was wanted to learn interview techniques, so that she had an interview booked for the next few days, and we went through the questions and the clinical questions, right? The way that she was answering the clinical questions was like, how can I explain? You need to follow an order when you are answering the questions. And everything was a mix up and there was no conclusion at the end. So I end up teaching her a methodology that exists for answering clinical questions and the things that you need to touch on from the beginning of the process to the end, and how you need to conclude it, usually through an escalation, right? And it was amazing because when I showed her how it's supposed to be done, it was like a light bulb had, just came into her head, like her face, like, I got it now, I understand it now. It was just like amazing to see. Like, the feeling for me was just a great feeling, because It's all about bringing value to you guys and making you feel good and making you feel confident. But I think most of all, making you believe in yourself, right? It was amazing. Like, she was like, Francine, I get it now. Like, I totally get it now. And she left the coaching call so confident, and I was so happy for her. And the nerves have gone, because I believe the nerves, they exist when there is no knowledge and understanding. From the moment that there is knowledge and understanding, and you know exactly what you're doing, there will be a little bit of nerves, but you have confidence. And confidence is really, really important, right? Okay, guys, there are 4 or 5 questions here. Oh, yeah. So Grace is already sending me the questions, so I will make sure that I address them in the end. Okay. So that's about being ready for your interviews. So let's proceed to the offer. The amazing day where you've been offered your role. And it's all about understanding the system, right? So receiving the offer will include many different things that you need to watch for. And sometimes it brings a little bit of uncertainty to the IMG, because that moment, like that big moment came. So is the realization, oh my God, I got this offer now. Is everything going to be as I expected? I think there is always a little bit of insecurity, because you really want it to work out, right? So there is the hope, like, I really want things to work. I really want to start here and everything. I just hope everything is like what I'm hoping for in this offer, what's offered to me, and is aligned with what I want. So it's important to review rates and allowances, hours that you're going to have to work, what the rooster is like, on-call requirements, if there are any, the supervision structure, notice period and leave. There will be a lot of bureaucracy, because visas are going to have to be processed. And then you're going to have to process your APRA, registration, onboarding. So it is a process where there is a lot happening, right? And it's important what? To be organized, be prepared, have your paperwork, right? Be responsive with the hospital. Be timely with your documentation. Hospitals really appreciate doctors that do that. Yeah. Workplace integration, extremely important. Show that, you value teamwork, that, respect is something important for you. Clear communication is something important for you. That is escalation is something important for you. You have to follow all the protocols. So you need to make sure that you are doing that. Okay. And I think above all, you have to show that you are teachable. If you show that you are teachable and everything goes as planned, yeah, you're gonna be fine. And I think what you need to remember is that this first job for you is a bridge. Is only a bridge to your career in Australia. So this first job is an opportunity for you to gain local experience, which is extremely important. So just have that in your mind, because that's going to be the trampoline that's going to take you further in your career. Take the opportunity to learn the systems, to build references. It's really important. I can't tell you how references are important in Australia. Like, if my doctors don't have references, they just cannot work. Like, they are not accepted anywhere. So references are really important. So take this time, this year, 2 years you're going to have in this hospital to build references. Use it to strengthen your CV. Is really important. Yeah, this is not your final destination. It's only the beginning of your journey. Okay. So the mindset here needs to be about, reflecting after your shifts, everything that you are learning, asking for feedback, improving your communication style, and learning from everyone. Okay. I think once you feel really integrated, you're gonna feel very, very confident, and it's about creating that momentum. Okay. And then, so this is the integration. And then the next slide is for me, the most important one in all of this, because is what permeates how well you're going to do in this process that I've just explained to you. Okay. Your mindset is everything. Okay. Is how you think, how you respond, how you show up. It really shapes your progress through this phase. The reality of the IMG is not an easy one. You're going to be experiencing delays, waiting, uncertainty, which is very normal. The progress is rarely linear, but let's be honest, that's life, right? What is linear in life? Nothing. Okay. So, but it's about how you are going to cope in times of delays, times of stress, times where you feel that you are not progressing, times of rejection. Okay. Because I truly believe that every rejection is a step forward towards getting what you want. Because I know that some hospital or most hospitals will reject you and not give you any feedback about why you've been rejected, right? It really depends when you've been rejected. Like if you've been rejected right away, you know, you send an application and you are rejected like within hours, definitely eligibility. If you've been, you know, rejected maybe a few days later, it means that probably the recruiter saw your CV and something hasn't landed. And you know, this creates a lot of uncertainty. And I think not having the feedback why you've been rejected builds up a lot. But I think the step back that you need to take is, okay, I've applied for 10 positions, I haven't been successful based on everything that Francine told me about these 6 stages. Where have I not done what she told me to do? And you're going to be able to pinpoint. Most of the times, no, I did not have a good CV. I just submitted, you know, a very generic CV full of tables, you know, not going to work. Or I have not tweaked my CV, you know, didn't create a good cover letter, you know, like, so I think if you are able to look back and pinpoint what you have not done, it's something that you can start doing going forward, right? You can definitely start doing it going forward. So I think it's about being really honest with yourself about how you've been showing up. I think that's the main thing here, okay? So the delays, they're gonna be there. The progress is gonna be slow. The rejections doesn't mean that you're not suitable. It's just another redirection for you. Resilience will separate you from the ones that move forward. It's important not to compare yourself with anybody else. It's important not to expect fast results. It is slow. The Australian system, unfortunately, is slow. And guys, usually there are so many things happening internally that you have no visibility of when you're applying for a role. So just keep that in mind too. And believe that slow progress is no progress. You have to believe that, you know, you are progressing, right? And the mindset that I believe you need to embrace that is really important for you is patience, confidence, being confident, growth over perfection, right? Don't try to do everything perfect. Just make sure that you improve a little bit every day. As I said, it's about consistency. It's not about sitting down in front of your computer 5 hours 1 week, do everything, and then forget about everything else, you know, the next 3 weeks. It's not about that. It's all about smaller, consistent actions. They will build up massive momentum that will make a difference in your applications, okay? So consistency is the key. It's important to emotional self-regulate and ask yourself what it is that you've been thinking about when you are getting these rejections. You know, are you telling yourself, I'm sick of it, I'm desperate for a job? Like I listen IMGs all the time. They message me, I'm desperate for a job. I'm sorry, if you are desperate, unfortunately, you're going to make the wrong decisions. Okay, so listen to what you're saying to yourself. So instead of getting in that rabbit hole of, nothing is working for me, this is really hard, I'm gonna have to give up, focus that energy into how can I do this better. Okay, because as I said, guys, this is just a phase. And once you are through this mountain, you have endless opportunities for you. I can't even tell you how much money you're gonna earn, how, like, the things that you're gonna be able to do is just unbelievable. So it's just now. It's just the now, and the now is not forever. Okay. So we are approaching the end. Just to let you know. Just want to know how everything is going for you. If things are still making sense. So I just listed here like the common barriers that I see for IMGs, which are things that we've discussed already. I'm just gonna highlight them here in the end. So lack of Australian experience, unfortunately, is a barrier, but it is something that can be worked out through, your CPD activities, getting an observership, like it's important. The observership, guys, has to be in a clinic if you're not in Australia and if you don't have the PR or your citizenship, because hospitals, they are very bureaucratic, right? So you need to be able to have those things in place to be able to apply for hospitals. But a way out is applying for the clinics, because you can do that on a visitor's visa. A way for you to get exposure, maybe to get some referees, is a good way of doing it. So unclear on the pathway and poor planning. So a lot of poor planning, a lot of desperation, a lot of shooting applications everywhere. That's not going to be helpful for you. CV and LinkedIn weak. Yeah, the first impression they have of you, your CV and your LinkedIn, right? And one thing that you have to think about is most of you are all pretty much on the same boat. So the competition is fierce. So only the ones that really take those steps are going to be the successful ones. The ones that are really doing like everything they can in order to get their first chance, right? And limited understanding of eligibility or is a problem, fear of networking. As I said, if you're not visible, how are people going to find you? It's going to be very hard. Because you are definitely like, look, putting a LinkedIn profile together is pretty easy. Like, it's pretty easy. And it's something that shows a lot about you. So if you don't have that, if you're not there networking, such a critical phase of your career, when are you going to do it? Okay. And then next one, gosh, the numbers, they disappear here. Okay, maybe now, yes. And then what makes an IMG to stand out? So clarity in your pathway, in your career goals, strong professional branding, right? This is not about a piece of paper or like an online profile, like any online profile. You have to think about yourself as, what is my brand? This is about how you are showing up. How are you branding yourself? It's really, really important. I know that you are doctors and, your job is to look after sick people. And, it's what you do, is what you specialize in, and it is what we are really good at, right? But this part of your career requires you to step in and do a bit more, okay? And for me, it's all about the person that you are becoming in the process. That's what it is for me. Who are you becoming in this process? Because the person that starts the process is totally different from the person that finishes the process. Look how much you have to learn, how much you had to invest in yourself, the things that you had to learn about the system. It's just like, it's a lot. but that's gonna bring you, is gonna mold you into a very great doctor. Because once you've done all of this, it's gonna be much easier for you to actually adapt, right? Adapting into the system is gonna be challenging. But if you showed through the process that you are super flexible, they are willing to learn, that you're willing to take feedback, and that you're applying the things that you're learning, you're gonna see that's gonna reflect to you in your results. Okay, so to me, it's about who you are becoming. Okay, and I think through this process, you're gonna be able to really improve your communication and be more confident. And being visible, as I said, in Australia, networking is absolutely everything. And just to tell you, like my doctors, they are jumping from hospital to hospital doing locums, right? If they go to one hospital and something happens and the feedback is really bad, they actually get, because everything is networks, right? As explained before, usually you have a network of hospitals, meaning there is a centralized hub that looks after those hospitals, usually 8, 10, 15 hospitals. So if Dr. X went to hospital Z, something happens, and that doctor was banned in that hospital, it means that he's banned from the whole network. Okay, so you don't have one door closing for you, you have 15 doors closing for you. And that is bad. It's going to reflect badly on you. So that's why I'm saying that it's really, really important to network with people. It doesn't mean that you're not going to ever, 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 ever have a problem, right? But I think it's important to lead with integrity. I think that's the most important thing. Lead with integrity, okay? And yeah, and I think that's about it. We are gonna go now. I hope everything made sense for you, and the time that you spend here with me was worth your time. I hope you are leaving here today with a lot more clarity on the things that you need to do. Let me read through some of the questions that came through. There are many, many questions, guys, many questions. So general questions. Can we get the recording of this webinar? Yes, the recording will be sent to you for the people that participated, of course. Humbly asking, should I subscribe LinkedIn Premium? No, I don't advise you to subscribe to LinkedIn Premium because it is very expensive. I would say just have Premium if you're a recruiter. Okay, I think the most important thing for you to do is make sure that you are there every day for 20 minutes a day, opening up your connections, networking with people. I see very low value for somebody that's not a recruiter to be on a LinkedIn Premium. Okay, somebody is asking for a CV template. I'm sorry, I don't share CV templates in webinars like this. I will be sharing the CV template in my bootcamp though. Okay, so if you'd like to join the bootcamp, as I said, there is still time. You're gonna be learning exactly which templates to use. Okay, because I can't just go and be giving, some people paid for this bootcamp, right? I can't just give templates, for people that have not signed up for the bootcamp. So I'm sorry, I can't do that. Just being very honest with you. Preparation. Okay, so somebody is asking for vaccinations. That's usually asked for you after you get an offer, not like at the beginning of the process. Okay, so the WWCC, it depends. Somebody's asking about the WWCC. It can be done online. But one thing that you have to bear in mind is all the different states have WWCCs. New South Wales, for example, if you apply online, you're gonna have 30 days to go with in one of their offices. Somebody is actually drawing on my on my presentation. So anyway, guys, with the WWCC, New South Wales, you have 30 days to show up to one of their offices to basically verify your ID, to show that the person that applied for that job is you, okay? But that's New South Wales. South Australia, the process is totally online. The verification is actually done online, so you don't have to go to an office. So it's different for every location, but you can always start your application online. No, somebody's asking, we can only get the WWCC when you have an offer. No, you can get the WWCC anytime. The WWCC is valid for like 4 years, 5 years. But the thing is, initially, the hospital, you can have any WWCC. Let's say you have a WWCC from SA, but you get a job in New South Wales. Okay, you can initially provide that WWCC from SA to them. Hey, I do have it. But because you are working in New South Wales, you're going to still have to apply for the one in New South Wales afterwards. Okay. What about when is it required police check should be from Australia? Okay, the NPC from your country. Okay, because let's say you never lived in Australia. So the NPC, the national police check, is going to be from your country. But if, let's say, you are already in Australia, you probably have to show two NPCs, one from your country and one from the time that you've been living in Australia. Okay, is it absolutely necessary to get police check before applying? I have heard that they only accept checks that are not older than 3 months. No, that's not true. The police check has got different valid dates for the different states. But the minimum that the NPC is valid for is 1 year. In some states, the NPC is valid for 3 years. Okay? How important is the English test for the job? So it is important. There is minimum scores that you need to get. I don't know all of them by heart, but I think it's around it, and it depends on the English test that you are doing as well. But I think between 340, 350, depending on if it's writing, listening, speaking, you know. So that's something that I probably can give you more details. Just message me on LinkedIn and I can send you that. How we would write course summary as bullet or single paragraph. So the professional summary you write as a paragraph. The bullet points are usually used in the responsibilities of your role, or they could be used in your core skills. They could be used in your qualification, but not in the summary. Presentation. How much of a gap must be explained in CV? I think every situation is very personal to each of you. But what I would say is whatever gap you have, turn it into something positive. So, you know, took time to look after my kids, well, you know, or I took time off to focus in self-development through CPD activities during this transition from moving to my country to moving to Australia. So always reframe the gaps into something positive, okay? Follow-up question for the everyday, can we send will that backfire is if we connect recruiter on unofficially website? I don't know if I understand this question. Follow-up questions for, so every day can we send 20 LinkedIn? Yes, you can. Will that backfire us if we connect recruiter on unofficial website? I don't understand this question. So if you want to explain to on this chat, and Grace will send it to me. Yes, if you are being approached by a recruiter for a vacancy on LinkedIn because they saw your profile, of course, that's a positive sign. By the way, that's an amazing sign. Wow, somebody's contacting you for a job, right? It means that you have a really good LinkedIn profile. Okay, so application. Somebody is talking about, look, I think this question is really personal about the ED experience. It really depends on everything else that you've done, what you've done after. Usually there are more positions that you guys are eligible for. You're going to be rotating in different departments throughout the first year and I believe the second year as well. Yes, there is a massive shortage in ED, but really depends on your experience and background. So that one I think is really personal to your situation. So with the applications, so you can use ChatGPT to help you mirror the position. So the position is advertised, they are there, what the position is about, the hospital, the eligibility, what the requirements are, right? So copy that, paste that into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to give you the keywords, the main keywords about the job, and then insert those keywords into your CV, okay? Because the ATS will look for those keywords. So, and then you tweak that, put that on your CV, and then you submit the application. Offers. After passing AMC1, what should be mentioned in CV regards upper registration? So AMC1 passed, and maybe your, what your scores were or something like that. And then eligible, if you are eligible for limited registration, eligible for upper limited registration. We need to have past AMC. So there is a question about observerships. If the AMC is only required for observerships in hospitals, okay? Not in clinics. So you don't necessarily need to have passed AMC1, or I think it's best if you pass MC1 for you, right? Then you do the observership in a clinic. But no, in the clinic is not required, but in the hospital, yes. And in some cases, they even need to have you pass AMC2. Not every case, but some cases. I've seen cases already. Do you have WhatsApp or Telegram group? Not yet, but I'll be creating a community. That's something to watch out for the next, I would say January. I'll be creating a community and I'm going to have an app for doctors. You're going to be able to sign up on a membership basis. And that's going to be, I have plans to create a massive community for IMGs where you're going to get information from me firsthand. I'll keep you guys posted on that. Is it possible to get job for candidate eligible for upper limit? Is it possible to get job for candidate eligible for upper limit? Yes, it's totally possible. It is totally possible. But again, every situation is particular to your situation. I'm talking generally, okay? I don't know what your particular situation is. How much a clinical experience in home country is good? Does minimal experience like 1-2 years land a job? Again, it really depends on the hospital requirement that you're applying for. So that's what is going to determine if your experience is, matches the role or not. Okay, but I've seen, IMGs from, done their internship and have only 1 year experience, trying to get into this path, but what is going to determine is the jobs that you're applying for. Because if you only have 1 year experience and you're a PGY1, but the hospital is asking for somebody that has got 4 years experience, you're just not eligible for applying, okay? So that's why I say it's important to read the job advert. It's really important to read the job advert, guys. Okay. Is it possible to get job candidate eligible? I have responded that. Okay, I think I've responded everything. Let me see. Education offers, how much can you I think there is one more here. How much clinical experience is required for a post in Australia to be eligible, including internship? Okay, guys, that lands on the same answer that I just gave now. It's all about the requirements for the job. Okay. Do we need to include our CPD hours in the CV, or is that only necessary if there is a career gap? Yes. Anything you do towards CPD, add to your CV. It's not just to cover career gaps. It just shows that you are constantly learning. Okay. While calculating PGY1, PGY2, PGY6, how to do? Like, should we include the 1 year? Okay. So basically, guys, what happens is with the PGYs, yeah, the numbers of years experience, it's counted from the internship. That's where it's counts from when you started having exposure to the system and you're working. So your internship counts as PGY1, and then after that PGY2, 3, 4. The only thing is in Australia, unfortunately, like when you, not for necessarily for your cases now, but let's say locum for locum jobs, right? They don't really count the years of experience in your country. They only count the experiences that you are having in Australia. So basically, to get a locum job in ED, for example, you must have done 2 years in Australia. You must be like a PGY3 to get a job. So, but irrelevant for you right now. But that's how you start counting. So Australia resets the clock back. So when you start looking for jobs there, they only count the experience that you have in Australia. Okay. I meant, will the recruiter see it in a wrong way that a candidate approached me on LinkedIn? No, definitely not. I think it's how you go about it, right? So LinkedIn, it's for this purpose. It's for you to connect with people, right? And imagine, like, I am a recruiter. I have a position that I really need to fill right now. And all of a sudden, that perfect candidate sends me a message. Understand? But I think it's how you go about it. It's how you approach the situation. One thing that you have to think about is those recruiters from hospitals, they probably get a lot of people getting in touch with them through messages on LinkedIn. So it's how you go about it. And that's why I think you have to be very creative on how you do it. That's why in the bootcamp, I'm going to be teaching how to send the link with the tool that you're going to just wow them, right? Like imagine a recruiter open like a very well done, nicely CV, nice in the eye, everything is there. Like I feel so happy when I see that. And then all of a sudden your video there, hi, I am blah, blah, blah. I'm just getting in touch because I saw this job and I'm very interested in this position. I have my CV here for you, but this is what I've done in the last few years. And I think it just shows a lot about yourself. Like, I think it shows courage as well, right? Like, because being on video is really hard. And, but they are going to see how you communicate. They're going to see straight away, they're going to see so many things that they don't see when they are just reading a CV, guys. Okay. So it's how you go about it. It's really important. And I think I'm going to answer only one more question, okay? Because we've been here for a long time. Regarding immunizations. Later. About the immunizations, I would have everything ready right now. You don't want to be running after, because you know what happens with immunizations, right? Sometimes you lost the one that you had done 10 years ago. you have to go back to whatever place where you had it done so they can reprint the confirmation, whatever it is. Those things, take them after the way, as soon as possible, so that when you have your job offer or when you have to submit everything, you have everything there ready to go, and you don't have to rush like crazy when you really should be preparing for something else and not looking for paperwork that has been buried somewhere and you don't know where it is. Okay, have it ready. Regarding immunizations, they can be arranged later on. Queensland asks for vaccine card during initial phase. Exactly. So you're asking about Queensland specifically, yeah? As I said, they all work differently. There isn't one size fits all. Some hospitals will ask for different things in different stage of the process, right? They all work in different ways. So that's why the first stage in this process of this presentation is preparation. You need to have everything prepared. Like, I don't know, like, how I can emphasize it more, guys. Like, it's really important to have things ready, 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 ready. Yes, any gaps on your CV need to be explained. 3 months, 4 months, a year, a month, 10 days. Okay, you need to explain every gap, like not a week, but obviously, Australia is so regulated that even if you have a week gap, somebody may come and ask you, what did you do during that week? No joke, like it's no joke. Like it feels like that once you have an offer, they go through your CV word by word. Okay, or when they are preparing an offer for you where they have to verify everything, like the verification process is crazy. It's crazy. It's extremely regulated. So have everything ready while you can, while you have time. Why not? It's gonna save you so much stress in the end. Okay. So guys, I think I've ended up covering everything for everyone. What I have to say to you, like my last message for you is, I'm so happy that you showed up today because this is important for you. I know, I see every day that the ones that succeed are the ones that follow those steps that I just mentioned to you in this presentation. And I think at the end of the day, you all are capable and you all have the same chances available for you. If you follow the steps, you're going to be successful. You're going to definitely be successful. And I think you can have an amazing career in Australia. Australia is competitive, but I believe in all of you. I think you can all do it. My wish for you is that you all get your first job, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. This is my second job. I have a full-time job and I have this job. I work 16 hours, 17 hours a day to serve the IMGs. And because I believe in you guys, I really believe in you. I believe that you can make the difference. I believe that Australia needs you so badly right now than never before. Okay. So I see you. I understand you. I know how hard it is, but I also know that you can do it. Okay. And if you need somebody to help you by the hand through this process, I'm here for you. Okay. I really hope you have enjoyed it. And I hope that you have a lovely Sunday. Okay. Thank you so much for your time today. Take care. Bye bye.